Howdy doody everyone, I'm here to recording another commentary. Hopefully this will be good, I guess. This one's gonna be talking about, my love for Final Fantasy. So, here's the thing. To describe my love for Final Fantasy is a weird one, because it's not necessarily a big around surround love, and it's weirder to explain how I really fell into it. Mainly because, if it wasn't for things like Kingdom Hearts, I would not have fallen completely for playing Final Fantasy games. But here's the thing: I played Final Fantasy games before I even played Kingdom Hearts. Be like a while back. It's weird to even describe so much of it. It's weird. I think to best describe my love for Final Fantasy is my love for RPGs in general. Because turn-based RPGs, even action RPGs, there are different ways to make RPGs nowadays, and Final Fantasy originally was the turn-based one, and for me, I did enjoy it a lot. What was my first one I've ever played? Probably, technically, was 8. A demo of 8 on the PlayStation. Because it used to be back then where I was young, my family couldn't afford really much games themselves. I managed to get these demo discs, PlayStation demo disc, and I managed to play the demo of Final Fantasy 8. I didn't even know it was supposed to be like a continuation or something like that. And then, me being me, if I play one thing, I want to play the whole thing again, which at the time was kind of hard to figure out, because then, with Final Fantasy ports in general, if you know, but it's still very hazy and hard to figure out. Well, not nowadays. Nowadays, they finally got it all fixed up and got proper ports. Well, I should say proper ports in quotation marks, because it's kind of hard to find them, but proper ports now of all the games. So far, it's hard to say, really. And if you've been a Final Fantasy fan for a long time, well, you've kind of seen it there. And I've seen it myself, mainly because, even though I haven't been a Final Fantasy fan from the very beginning, from what I've seen and what I've learned about it, it's very much other things. So, you're gonna hear me describe the fact that I play Final Fantasy 8, and I barely even touch Final Fantasy 7, and that's a big thing, because that's a lot of people's favorites, and a lot of people who go with Final Fantasy usually surround themselves with Final Fantasy 7. Everyone has a different Final Fantasy they love, and different Final Fantasy they want. For me, in general, I don't really pertain to much of any. See, this is why it's weird. I do like the turn-based point, and not knacking the new system they introduced. I think the one Final Fantasy I played the most was Final Fantasy 3. I think it's hard to say if my memory fails me, but I think Final Fantasy 3 I played the most. And I've played Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, a bit of 5. I got started on 6. I don't think I got to play it, but and I never got to play the original 7. But I did play the remake, at least part of it. I didn't get to complete that either yet, but I got to play some of the remake of 7. And I guess I should play 7 because I think it would make sense if I play 7, because I think it's different, of course, from the remake. But yeah, I never really got to play completely 8, only besides the demo I played, so I never got to play that. 9, I've heard of it, I've seen it, I never got to play it. I got to play a little bit of 10, not a lot. I think I own 10, do I think well, if I don't, I will. So, but I think it was 11 that I. No, wait, no. 11 was a. Open. It was 12. Yeah, 12 was what I'm thinking about. Right? That's the one that also came on the PS2 right towards the end of the lifespan. And I actually bought, and now I own the better copy of it now. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I played 12 for sure. I didn't get to complete it, but I did play 12 for sure. Never played 13. Never played 13. I've heard so much about 13, never played 13. I kind of want to, even though people are knocking it, but I kind of want to play 13, mainly because I don't know what the fuck is 13. I got into 14. It's still a big thing nowadays. I got into 14, played a little bit online and stuff like that. 15, haven't touched yet. I've seen it, I've seen gameplay of it, I've watched a little bit of the story background around it, and I own it. I do own 15, but I haven't played 15. I think I should, but I haven't done it yet. I'm excited for 16. If anyone's seen 16, I'm excited for 16 for sure. But yeah, it's weird really to describe my love for Final Fantasy, but it's a very well genre to love, especially with RPGs, and I can't say that I don't not like it. I do like it a lot, and necessarily I do love it because otherwise I would never bought all those games for it, or dedicate so much time to playing so much of their games, you know. But it's so weird to describe it nowadays. It's not as much as an obsession as much as Kingdom Hearts was for me, but it's just something that I still love for the genre and inspires me still to this day to maybe make a game kind of like it, just an RPG and stuff like that, you know. Maybe one day that will happen, and maybe we'll see where I take inspirations from and stuff like that. But like, I have nothing else to say about that. We'll talk more about that later, I guess. But mainly about talking about the aspects of like different genres changing over time and changing to the modern way we see RPGs nowadays. And it was pretty interesting to see. And I can't really say that most of the choices were good or bad, and I only talked about the mainline Final Fantasy games. Notice that, because all the spin-offs and like side games, God, it's a lot to pertain to, especially if you're trying to follow like certain storylines and stuff like that. It's crazy, and that's why almost like at this point, like almost every Final Fantasy game, every Final Fantasy game is kind of self-contained, so it's a different fantasy every time. But at the same time, it's weird to pertain to actually find and see different aspects of which one is which, and different type of like characters and storylines and stuff like that. I still love it because it's a different way of exploring that imagination, the creativity, and like things like that, and like coming up with different aspects and stuff like that, while still pertaining to one amount of rules, and like back then of like creating like different parts of history and around there and stuff like that, while still trying to fit in the regular amount of like things that would make your game still be that Final Fantasy game. And it's really interesting to say the least, because it's like, wow, like some people might say it's limiting, but like, and again, it is to a point, but another way you could see it is just how creative people can get around just these little loopholes. Like, I've seen different aspects with different Final Fantasy games. It's just incredible to see how many times they get away with a few little shits or jabs or references. But it's cool though. It's cool at the same time to see, because it's like, oh, at least they actually were trying to talk about the other games and trying to reference stuff like that. Overall, I still love it, and I still want to explore more of the Final Fantasy life itself in general. I'm definitely gonna go back and play the rest of the games I haven't played yet. So, yeah. Anyway, that's me talking about it. I'm Isabel G2. Thank you for listening in, and I'm signing off.